They didn't teach you how to live. They trained you how to survive. Obey, achieve, repeat, but never ask why. They told you to be a good man, but they never told you how to be a free one. So you perform, you smile when you're dying inside. You chase dreams that aren't yours. You wake up tired, even after sleep, because the war isn't outside, it's in your mind. Between the mask you wear and the man you were supposed to become. Friedrich Nietzsche saw this long before the world collapsed into comfort. He didn't come to soothe the wounded. He came to expose the wound. He didn't preach peace, he provoked fire. He said what no one dares to admit, that most people aren't living, they're decaying, beautifully dressed and spiritually empty. Nietzsche didn't write for the masses. He wrote for the misfits, the ones too awake to fake it, the ones who feel too much in a world that numbs everything. He wasn't a philosopher, he was a reckoning. Not here to be understood, but here to be felt. Here to dismantle you until only the real you remains. So if you're here to be comforted, leave. But if you're here to be confronted, to be broken open, to finally face the voice you've silenced for too long, then stay. Because this isn't a lesson, it's a resurrection. Lesson 1, be a harmonious totality. You must still have chaos in yourself to give birth to a dancing star. But they told you chaos was bad. They told you to hide it, to lock it up, to pretend you were only light, never shadow. But you are not just light, you are fire, and fire burns both ways. Nietzsche saw it. He gave it names, Apollonian and Dionysian. The part of you that calculates and the part of you that dances in madness. Apollo is the order in your mind, the part that pays bills, keeps clean, holds steady. Dionysus is the storm in your gut, the part that dreams wild, loves deep, and breaks patterns. You are both, and you are dying every time you choose only one. Because too much Apollo. You become sterile, predictable, numb, a perfect life with no soul in it. Too much Dionysus, you drown in your own chaos. Brilliant ideas, but no structure to build them. One is the sword, the other is the scream. And greatness, real greatness comes from the man who knows when to wield both. So stop apologizing for your complexity. Stop trying to be just one thing. You are not a brand. You are a battlefield. A man is not at war with himself. He is the war. And when he embraces both general's order and chaos, he doesn't become confused. He becomes complete. This is not about balance. It's about harmony, a violent, sacred harmony. So listen closely, not to the world, to yourself. The part of you that organizes and the part of you that howls, because the star you were meant to birth will never rise until you stop killing the chaos inside you. Lesson number 2, avoid having a reactive life. Most humans distract themselves to avoid awareness. That's not fatigue, that's spiritual avoidance. You scroll because silence scares you. You overschedule because stillness would expose the truth. You obey because to choose would make you responsible. You are not busy, you are hiding. And Nietzsche saw it. He called it what it is, a passive life disguised as activity. You're not living, you're reacting, not from vision, but from fear. You wake up, reach for your phone, not because you care, but because you forgot how to care. Every tap, every post, every outrage is just noise to drown the signal. And the signal is this: you are not where you're supposed to be. Your soul knows it, your body feels it, but your mind keeps playing dead because it's easier to react than to act, easier to conform than to confront, easier to be a victim than to be free. But Nietzsche did not write for victims. He wrote for those ready to stand alone. And this is the truth. If your life does not feel like yours, it's because you didn't choose it. You inherited it. You drifted into it. You surrendered to it. But it doesn't have to end that way. Step out of the algorithm. Turn off the voices that tell you who to be. Silence the inner coward who waits for permission. You are not a reaction. You are a force, and the world will only feel you when you stop living by default and start living by decision. Lesson number 3, avoid holding resentment. To be incapable of holding grudges, that is power, not forgiveness out of weakness and forgiveness out of excess. Because when you're full of life, you don't have space for poison. Resentment is not strength. It is spiritual debt. It is reliving a wound that should have scarred but never closed. Every time you hold on to it, you chain yourself to the moment you should have transcended. And you shrink. You think you're punishing them, but it's your soul paying the cost. Nietzsche didn't say ignore the pain. He said confront it, then release it. Well, he saw what most don't, that those who cannot forget are already defeated, not by the enemy, but by their own inability to move. The noble man acts quick, precise, without hesitations. If justice is required, he delivers it. But then he lets go, because vengeance is a moment, but resentment is a prison. Holding grudges does not make you powerful. It makes you predictable. It means your enemy still commands your mind long after they've left your life. So cut it. The story, the replay, the false nobility of staying bitter. You are not a victim of memory. You are the editor of your mind. And power, real power, is being able to look back and feel nothing. That's not coldness. That's freedom. Lesson number 4, don't blindly follow the masters. Don't worship the ashes. Carry the fire. You were raised to quote, not to question, to nod, to obey, to kneel before the words of dead men and call it wisdom. But Nietzsche refused that comfort. He studied the greats, then broke from them, because he knew no man becomes himself through imitation, only through rebellion. Respect them, yes, but follow them blindly, no, because what was true for them might be death for you. You don't become real by copying real. You become real by bleeding for your own truth. You were not born to walk a second-hand path. You were born to carve one through fire, confusion, and failure. And yes, it will cost you your comfort, your certainty, maybe even your place among the obedient. But obedience is not virtue. It is fear dressed in tradition. Nietzsche knew this. That truth is not inherited. It is forged. So read the old text, study the old gods, but do not mistake their steps for your own. Their road was theirs. Yours must be built with your bones. Don't ask, what did they believe? Ask what is true for me when I'm completely alone. That is where your voice begins. And until you find it, you will speak with the mouths of dead men. Lesson number 5, find your why. He who has a why can bear almost any how. But most people don't have a why. They have routines, they have distractions, they have noise, and beneath it all, they're hollow. Because suffering without purpose is torture. But suffering with purpose, that's transformation. The weight doesn't get lighter. You become heavier, rooted, anchored, unshakable. You don't need more motivation. You need clarity. You need a North Star that doesn't move when life does. Not a fantasy, not a goal made to impress others, but a reason that survives your worst day. That looks back at you in the mirror and says, this is why you're still breathing. Without that, everything hurts more than it should. Little things break you. Setbacks shatter you, because there's nothing above the pain, only you, alone, and confused. But when your why is strong, you don't need the world to be easy. You just need to keep walking. And Nietzsche knew a man who knows his why can crawl through hell with a smile because he's not crawling aimlessly. He's headed somewhere. So if you've lost your reason, go find it. Not in comfort, but in confrontation. Ask yourself, what am I willing to suffer for? What truth do I want to earn with blood? What fire would I run into just to carry it home? That's your why. And once you find it, you stop running from pain. You start using it. Lesson number 6. Suffering can make you stronger. What does not destroy me makes me stronger, but only if you let it. Pain does not guarantee growth. Some drown in it, others sharpen their soul with it. Most run, they numb, they distract, they call the wound bad luck instead of what it really is, the beginning of transformation. Nietzsche knew what most can't bear to admit, that life will break you again and again, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. Because your masks don't survive the fire, only your essence does. Suffering strips everything you're not, your delusions, your fantasies, your false identity. And what's left is something undeniable. That's why Nietzsche speaks of the phoenix, not as myth, but as metaphor. Burn, break, fall apart, but do it consciously. Don't just survive the pain, extract its meaning, ask, why did it shake me so deeply? What illusion did it kill? What part of me refused to die? Even when everything else did, that part, that raw, unfiltered self, that's the real you, not the image, not the performance, not the man who was never challenged. You think you want peace, but what you really want is power. And suffering, faced with courage, is the fastest path to it. So suffer well. Don't complain. Don't collapse. Rise, not as who you were, but as who you must become. Lesson number 7, avoid being just busy. Whomever doesn't own 2/3 of their day is a slave, but most won't admit it, because slavery with a salary feels safer than freedom with uncertainty. So they keep moving, fast, efficient, productive, dead. Because busyness is the perfect hiding place for the hollow. You say you're working hard, but who owns your hours? Who commands your calendar? Who benefits from your exhaustion? You were taught to measure worth in output, to hustle until your soul dissolves. But what if your pace is perfect for building someone else's empire? Nietzsche didn't condemn work. He condemned blind obedience to it. Work is noble, but only when it's yours. You can work 12 hours a day and still be a servant, a high-functioning prisoner in a well-lit cell. The issue isn't effort, it's ownership. Do you own your time, or are you selling it piece by piece? For comfort, you never get to enjoy. The world calls it ambition, but Nietzsche called it what it really is, modern slavery. So ask yourself, not am I productive, but am I sovereign? You can't buy your soul back at 65. You can't reclaim the years spent proving yourself to people who were never watching. Freedom is not a weekend. It's how you spend your Tuesday afternoon. So stop hiding behind your to-do list. Stop mistaking motion for meaning. Start reclaiming your time, or die busy and forgotten. Lesson number 8, live dangerously. Live dangerously, not recklessly, not impulsively, but awake. Because danger is not chaos, it's intensity. It's choosing the edge over the coffin of comfort. Most people are not safe. They are numb. They are slowly dying in well-furnished routines. You don't need more time. You need more risk. The kind that wakes the soul. The kind that demands truth. Nietzsche didn't say live wildly. He said live vividly, with your eyes open, with your fear held in one hand and your will in the other. Comfort is a slow poison. It flatlines your growth, kills your instincts, turns your wildness into ritual, and before you know it, you're predictable, a ghost, moving through the motions of a life you no longer remember choosing. So ask yourself, would I relive today 1,000 times? If the answer is no, that's not just discomfort. That's your soul screaming, change now, not after your next raise, not when the kids grow up, now. Because waiting to live is how people die before they're buried. Yeah, you want meaning, go to the edge. You want power, step into risk, the safest path. The key is the one that keeps you mediocre. So live like you're running out of time because you are. Lesson number 9, become a superhuman Übermensch. Man is a rope stretched between the beast and the superhuman. You are not the final form, you are the bridge. A trembling wire suspended over an abyss between instinct and awakening, and between comfort and transcendency. You were not born to arrive. You were born to evolve. Nietzsche didn't preach perfection. He demanded progression, not just better habits, not just bigger goals, but a new species of man. The Übermensch is not a superhero. He bleeds, he doubts, but he rises above himself every time. He doesn't escape pain, he reconstructs it. He doesn't mimic strength, he becomes it. And you are not exempt from this calling, because your life isn't just yours. It's a thread in the fabric of all humanity. What you build, what you carry, what you pass down, it echoes. You teach by your example. Even when you don't speak, you shape the world, even when you feel invisible. So the question is not, will you succeed? The question is, will you ascend? Or will you stay stuck at the level of the beast, driven by hunger, chained by fear, begging for approval in a world that doesn't even know your name? You are not here to imitate, you are here to transcend the voices, transcend the lies, transcend your own past. And every time you rise above who you were yesterday, you bring the Übermensch one step closer to existence. So become the bridge, walk it in fire, walk it in silence, and never stop. Lesson number 10. Happiness is the way you approach your goals, babe. My formula for happiness: a yes, a no, a straight line, a goal. But you were told happiness was a destination, something to chase, something to earn, a prize at the end of obedience. Well, that was the lie. And it's why you suffer. Because real happiness is not what you get. It's how you walk. It's clarity. It's precision. It's knowing what to say yes to without guilt, and what to say no to without apology. Most are exhausted, not from effort, but from indecision. Too many paths, too much noise, too little truth. Nietzsche's formula is brutal in its simplicity. Yes, no, a straight line, a goal. That is happiness. Not the shallow euphoria sold by screens, but the deep silence of alignment, where your actions echo your values, where your steps don't betray your soul. Draw a line, not with your hand, but with your will, slave, and walk it. Through failure, through boredom, through days when no one claps, especially those days, because applause is a drug. And the straight line doesn't need it. The straight line burns quietly, the unmoved, undistracted. So don't wait to be happy. Choose to be aligned. And in that alignment, pain becomes bearable. Sacrifice becomes sacred. Life becomes yours. Happiness is not the goal, it's the way you pursue the goal. So set it, walk toward it, and never, never swerve. You were not made to fit in. You were made to rise. Not to be accepted, but to remember who you were before the world tamed you. You don't need their permission. You don't need their praise. You need fire. You need direction. You need reason. And if you can endure the silence, if you can suffer without becoming bitter, if you can walk alone without losing your soul, then you don't need saving. You only need will to rise. If something moved inside you, if a part of you, long buried, suddenly sat up, don't let this pass. Comment below, I am the rope. Mark the beginning of your return. Then send this to a brother who's still asleep, still nodding, still obeying, still dying quietly in comfort. Don't let him rot behind a smile. This is will to rise, not for the faint, not for the false. This is not motivation. It is awakening, but not escape, evolution. And if you're ready, walk the rope.